Spreading the Floor podcast, episode 28. 28?
28 sounds right.
28 of these things. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Jacob Cooperman. Nigel's there in the PS5 headset.
That's right.
Dripped out it's matching the sweatshirt, bro. Come on, man. The drip
It's
god
too much.
Nigel. Why do you want to make me feel homeless every time we record? I'll walk in, I'll be like,
you're the one with the expensive equipment, man. I'm just trying to keep up somehow.
No, I'm serious. Like when we go into the booth at school, I'll be like, yeah, a hoodie's fine. You know what I'm saying? A little blue mask. Nigel comes in, an actual black mask on. Everything's matching. Got the gold chain. I'm like sitting across from him, like, damn, son.
You only need like 4 or 5 good outfits and you're set for the rest of your life. You know?
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Because you know what? I'll double dip on outfits a ton. Like I know you know that. You know me. You've known me long enough where you know that if I have an outfit that works, I'm gonna wear it more than once, and I'll just mix and match clothes. But yeah. Well, what can we get into first? I actually, you know what? Funnily enough, I know it's not basketball. Can we talk real quick? Did you see Logan Paul is gonna be fighting Mayweather?
Yeah,
dude, what the fuck? What is 2020? It's crazy that like we're at the end of 2020, right?
Right. Thank God.
And you think, I didn't necessarily think that 2020, the craziness that is 2020, would have subsided by 2021. But just the fact that in 2021, Logan Paul, the YouTube star that lost to KSI, is now fighting Floyd Mayweather, one of the best boxers to ever live. What is going on? What is happening? And it came out of nowhere too. Like there wasn't any run up about it. There wasn't I don't know if maybe there was a call out. I'm sure
they were talking a lot on social media. I think Logan Paul, he's just, how he is. He just, he likes his 15 minutes of fame. So he wants to be in the spotlight again. Started off on Vine, went to YouTube, became a boxer.
Yeah. Apparently,
so.
Man. He saw Jake Paul absolutely flatten Nate Robinson out, and he's like, listen, I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I gotta do something to top that. This is gonna be more than 15 minutes of fame, though. Mark my words, this will be more than 15.
No.
Come on, Nigel.
Both of them are already pretty popular. Listen, it's gonna go one of two ways. Either he gets laid out, and then it's over. No one really talks about it again. Everyone's like, what did you expect to happen?
Right.
Or it ends in a draw. Because Floyd Mayweather wanted to bet on a draw, so he throws the match.
You think so? You think? Well,
100%.
It is important to mention that Floyd Mayweather is getting a lot older, and he's a very obviously defensively solid boxer, probably the best defensive boxer of all time. But Logan Paul has a wide advantage on him in terms of size and reach, I'd imagine. I know for sure size because Logan Paul is like 6'3" and Floyd Mayweather's like 5'6". But yeah. I mean, man, just I saw people talking about how Logan Paul could win this against Floyd Mayweather. It's like, come on, man. Are we really? We're really doing this? Are we really doing? Come on.
This is not going to happen unless Floyd Mayweather decides to take it easy. It's just not going to happen. Which I could see happening too. If he because you know how he is about his money.
Yeah.
If he puts a couple million down on a draw and then throws the match, I don't think he'd lose it on purpose. But I'd say he takes a draw.
Do you think this is because Floyd Mayweather is running out of money? You think that could be it?
Well, he'd have to gamble. He'd have to have a really bad gambling problem to be running out of money. I mean, he has a lot of money.
I know he has a lot of money, but I've heard from a lot of people that are close to him. I don't know them personally, obviously, but I've heard them from like a media standpoint. They say that he spends like it's going out of style. He's a very big spender. I mean, if his car collection that he's got in his driveway is any indication of this man's spending habits, I mean, Floyd Mayweather he's throwing money away. So this could, listen, for a guy to fight Logan Paul, right? To fight Conor McGregor, two guys that have been untested in the ring. You got to think it's like if he had the money, and he's getting older, why even chance it? Why even go to the trouble of fighting all these guys? Maybe it'll get you more clout, because if you're fighting Conor McGregor, you're fighting Logan Paul. I mean, that's going to get you clout, but is it really worth it? I mean, for people that know him, they know he's one of the GOATs.
Yeah, well, you got to remember also, like, this is what he does for a living. So that he's just signing up for the next match, and it's probably going to be an easy win for him. That's probably what he's figuring. So, why not? I mean, it's a high-profile matchup. He's going to get a ton of money regardless of who comes out on top. So, this is what he does for a living. He's just gonna, like you said, he's getting older. This should still not be that big of a problem for him. He's probably gonna go in there and slap him around a little bit.
It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be crazy. I mean, listen, I'm sitting here talking shit. I'm definitely gonna watch that.
Yeah,
100%.
100%, 100%.
I'm not buying it, but I'll stream it. And they better have a fire undercard too. There better be like, there better be like KSI fighting, dude. I don't even know. There better be KSI fighting Conor McGregor on the undercard on some wild shit just in January 2021. I don't know, bro. I'll definitely still watch it, but it just seems to me too, because you got to remember Floyd has a 50-0 record if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, something like that.
A 50-0, that's pretty crazy. To box for as long as that man has boxed and to retain that type of record is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. So I also think for just, and I know Floyd Mayweather is a very prideful guy. For pride's sake, you want to hold on to that record, right? Like, you're not trying to let that go. It's just, it seems like, again, the payout might be very substantial. Probably will be very substantial because you're going to be getting a lot of eyes are going to be drawn to this, right? We just said that we'd buy it. But at the same time, I feel like the risk just kind of outweighs the reward in this. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion, though.
I think that you think that there's more risks than he believes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that he's gonna lose. I don't think he thinks that he's gonna lose. I think that in his head, there's a 0% chance that he loses.
Yeah,
I don't think that's far from the truth.
Well, he's Floyd Mayweather. He should feel like that, right? Like, if you're one of the best of all time, you've never been beaten, you're literally 50-0. At this point, you're like, okay, it's second nature to me. He's been boxing since he's a kid, so you're right. He should feel like that. I don't know. It does not even from like a potential damage inside the ring thing. It's just in entirety. It's just a quick cash grab, but it caught me off guard. Like, I was getting
caught me off guard too.
I was getting off my job at the UPS and I was just like, checked my phone real quick. Bleacher Report. Oh, by the way, Logan Paul is fighting Floyd Mayweather. I was like, what on God's green earth am I looking at right now?
Yeah,
and I showed it to the UPS guy sitting next to me, and he's this old dude. And he just goes, "Oh, but what the hell?" It's like nobody in the like we neither of us believed it, but it is set in stone. I wanted to talk about it real quick because we're slowly becoming a boxing podcast. Not really, no. We just
making the transition.
We're making the transition. We're gonna go from a basketball podcast to a boxing podcast, and then sometime down the line, we're just gonna be First Take. That's basically what it's gonna turn into. No, I think it was like tangentially connected to Jake, Jake Paul and Nate Robinson. So I wanted to talk about it real quick. But with that being said, we got to get into the meat and potatoes of this week because there was, I want to say, like 2 to 3 really pressing hot stories that we could get into. I wanted to talk about the opening schedule for December 22nd. I definitely want to talk about this Russell Westbrook and John Wall trade, who we think won the trade, because I've been pondering it. We could start with that. I've been pondering about it. I really don't know who won the trade. And it might be because I'm looking at it through a different lens, but I guess I'll just get into it now. And we'll get into the rest of the stuff later on in the show. But I was sitting there and I've been thinking about it. I've been digesting it over the last couple of days. At face value, the Wizards win this trade, I think.
Yeah.
Is that an unfair assessment?
That's fair. It's very fair.
So the Wizards get Russell Westbrook. He shows up to practice 2 hours early, sets the tone for veracity. Like, you've been very complimentary of Russell Westbrook on past shows, that he brings the intensity. He's a great guy to have in the locker room. This clearly shows it, right? You have a team around him. Denji Avdiva, Davis Bertrands, Bradley Beal. I mean, you surrounded Russ with shooting. Right. Rui Akamura. It's the Wizards are great. Now I think they're about a piece away from really making some noise. So good for the Wizards, right? The only thing is Russell Westbrook's age and the contract. That gives me a little bit of pause. Funnily enough, similar contracts on both sides. John Wall and Russell Westbrook are in pretty much exactly the same situation contract-wise. Then you look at the Houston Rockets. I can't go a podcast without slipping up here. Houston Rockets. They signed John Wall. He's unproven. He's been out for the last 2 years, coming off an Achilles injury, which is usually a pretty career-changing injury.
Yeah.
then you also sign Boogie Cousins.
Right.
So you have two unproven guys, but you have a pretty solid team around them, right? Daniel
Right.
House, you have James Harden, you have PJ Tucker. He's not the biggest center, but he is. I mean, he plays well. He's in the corner. From the corner, he's money, right?
Right.
He's a great. And then you have Steven Silas, great offensive head coach, and a myriad of other guys on that squad.
Right.
But then, I'm thinking about it further, and this is another big headline that we got to get into. Harden today doesn't show up to
Right.
individual workouts. Then Steven Silas comes out in an interview and says, hey, there's no timetable for his return. What's going on with this Rockets team? That, for me, was the tipping point. I'd say that the Wizards subsequently, because Harden, and I think it's because Harden is he was, first off, he was partying with, I think it was Lil Baby in Atlanta for his birthday.
Yeah, I believe so.
But I think this is more indicative of because there was reports of Harden being very, very unhappy with the way, with the Steven Silas hire. I think this is more just Harden throwing a little bit of a temper tantrum, which I was actually very disappointed to hear. At least that's the way it looks now. Again, we don't know. We won't know until Harden returns. But for me, that won the Wizards this trade. I think if you want my personal opinion, I think that the Rockets could be a playoff team. I don't know the same about the Wizards, but I do think, especially if Boogie and John Wall come back and they're serviceable at least, yeah, for sure, the Rockets are a playoff team, especially with Steven Silas at the helm. But I mean, that's my whole take on it. It was very confusing because I'm seeing all these conflicting things. Again, Russell Westbrook is back with his old coach again when he was with Kevin Durant on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Right.
Same head coach for the Wizards. So he's coming into a similar area. I don't know, but I guess go ahead. My fault. I just went on a big diatribe.
No, it's good. I think that the Wizards are definitely in a better place right now than the Rockets are, just because of the James Harden thing. I don't know. The James Harden really didn't have anything to do with the trade itself. So I don't know if you could say that they won the trade because of how James Harden is acting, but I think that both teams benefited from it. If James Harden's heart and head was in it, then obviously they'd be in a better place. But what I'm thinking is that, Russell Westbrook, we're starting to see him come towards the end of his career almost. NBA players have their prime and then they start just going from team to team. Russell Westbrook's been on 3 different teams in 3 years. We're starting to see something similar to, maybe Paul Pierce, Shaquille O'Neal. You just kind of transfer a lot towards the end of your career because you still got something left in the tank, but not enough to really make as big of a splash as even you'd want. So that's kind of what's happening to Russell Westbrook. The Wizards got to figure out a way to really make him shine and bring his talents out, or else he's just going to waste away, and next year he's going to be on a different team. James Harden, he wanted a trade. He made it very clear. They said that they were in no rush to trade him. So this is kind of like his backlash. He's a superstar. Superstars tend to do this. The NBA is a players' league. If he doesn't get what he wants, he's just gonna, do whatever because he has that kind of power. And what are they gonna do to stop him? Probably nothing.
Nothing. Probably.
He's making how many millions of dollars a year. So, I mean, at the end of the day, what it looks like is going to happen is that they're going to try to get a trade for him throughout the year, when the season starts. And then they're going to do what they got to do. I don't see, we talked about John Wall before. If Harden came back 100% with his head into it, and John Wall came back, I could see that being a scary team. Because John Wall is more of a slasher and more of a passer, and James Harden can roll with that. John Wall is very fast. He'd be great on fast breaks. James Harden's an excellent passer, so I don't see why that wouldn't work out for them. But it all depends on what James Harden wants, because at the end of the day, he's already proven that he's going to do whatever.
Well, you kind of questioned why James Harden would be a factor in me saying that the Wizards won this trade, and it's because you're right. Harden and Westbrook wanted to trade at the same time. They both said that they were unhappy with the way things were going in Houston. And the thing is, listen, Westbrook left. Harden's still there. I think that there's a little bit of pent-up frustration from Harden. I'm just talking tangentially in terms of the trade and its effect on either team, right? I think that's something you have to take into effect. Like if say Russ goes to the Wizards, right, and then Bradley Beal gets traded the next year, then a lot of people could also say that long term the Rockets won that trade. You've seen it with certain trades in the past. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I think that a pissed off Harden is not a good location. Like I've said it once and I'll say it again. Everything needs to go right for this Rockets team to be
Right.
a playoff team. For me personally, that's just for me. I think what the Rockets have done is they've taken one experiment, the Russell Westbrook and the Harden Rockets, and they're just scooching it over to another experiment. Two untested guys, two guys coming off of injuries. It's not that different. It's just another experiment.
Right.
That's yet again another reason why I'd say the Wizards have a lot more upwards mobility with this. They have Bradley Beal, a guy who's been proven. There's guys around them. Davis Bertans, he's been proven, right? Rui Hachimura, he played great. He's a great rookie. I just think that the Wizards have more proven ability right now than the Rockets, that are kind of just in limbo, and they have a pissed off player who is their cornerstone player with a new head coach. It's just a lot of different pieces coming together. And I was one of the people that originally thought that the Rockets won this trade, because I'm
Right.
a big proponent that I think I don't see any reason. Again, I've said it maybe 2 or 3 times over the last 2 or 3 episodes of the podcast, but I don't see any reason why John Wall can't come back and Boogie can't come back.
Right.
Sports medicine, it's magic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sports medicine is
That
magic.
is.
So I'm going to wait to see. Maybe I'll give my updated predictions on who I think won the trade. The West is way more competitive. The East is starting to open it up. I gotta give this one to the Wizards. So I agree with you, Nigel. But I guess actually no. Did you say who you thought won the trade?
If the Rockets start this season with James Harden playing,
Yeah.
to the ability that he has been, if his heart's in it, then I say the Rockets win.
Mm.
In the short term.
Okay. Do you think it's
Um,
also dependent on that, or do you think it's just dependent on that, or do you think that Wall and obviously Boogie have to play a part in that?
I think James Harden has proven that he can do it by
On him,
himself.
yeah, that's
You
true
know what I'm
too.
saying?
That's true.
If James Harden comes back playing like he has been for the last 2 years, they're a playoff team regardless. Doesn't matter who's on his team. James Harden, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter whether Boogie Cousins is healthy or not. James Harden's going to go out there and score 45 a night. He's just going to do that.
Mm.
Is that enough to win a championship? No, like we said in the past, but that's enough to get into the playoffs. That's enough to get into the second round at least. So
I'd say first round, yeah, for sure.
And how much was Russell Westbrook really doing on the Rockets?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
If John Wall can just go in there and provide some backup support for Harden and not take the ball like Russell Westbrook was, then I think they have a pretty good chance. So I'd say short term, because we don't know long term yet, but I'd say short term, I'd say Rockets win, as long as they start the season with Harden.
Yeah. I think it's also important too to mention real quick that obviously Russell Westbrook, as you said, isn't the player that he once was.
Yeah.
His athleticism is fading. He might be a great player. And a lot of people this week too, as if they were trying to make my job really, really hard, a lot of people came out and were very complimentary of the teammate that Russell Westbrook has been, and said that essentially my argument on episode 25, the Oklahoma Finesse, where I said he isn't really a leader, and you actually, in defense of you, came out in defense of Russell Westbrook and kind of mirrored the sentiments of a lot of NBA guys, and what they said about him is that he's a great teammate. He's a vocal leader. He sets the tone like he did in Washington. My whole thing is he's a guy that needs the ball. He's high energy. He's gonna, like you said, it's a similar situation to Houston where you got a guy like Harden that's gonna the ball's gonna run through him no matter who's there. Like I feel like Russell Westbrook, while he most times is that player, if he's not, he's gonna want to be. Right. So I also have questions about that Wizards team. I do think they won the trade, but I have questions about this Wizards team. Like, what if Bradley Beal wants the ball more? What if they want to? And I saw actually practice clips. They were going back and forth. They were running the motion offense. So that's really good because they have a lot of shooters. But there's a lot. There's so many questions. And I've seen it. It's actually really great because I've been watching here, there. I've been watching The Ringer, ESPN First Take. I try to get as much of a balanced kind of diatribe in and a balanced diet of different opinions as possible. Everyone has a different spin on this. Everyone has a different take. You're not going to find two people having the same opinion on this. Even we disagreed. So it's
Right.
it's going to be cool to see, especially because the Wizards, in the East and all that stuff, and the Rockets in the West, will they overperform? Will they perform expectations? Will they underperform expectations? We don't know.
Right.
We don't know. Any closing thoughts for that segment? We can move on if not.
I think Bradley Beal is going to complement Russell Westbrook and vice versa.
Yeah.
I don't think Bradley Beal is not really a shot creator. But he does get his shots in. I think Russell Westbrook is going to open up that lane for him. I think he's going to open him up to some shooting, and I think Bradley Beal is actually going to shine with Westbrook on his team.
It is a very similar situation to when Russ was with Kevin Durant in 2014.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Same coach and everything. He's going to have another star guy to play with. It's all going to be if Russell Westbrook, and you know what? I will say this in defense of Westbrook, when he needs to, he gets the ball to other guys. For the most part, he might be a ball dominant guard, but it's not like he's on the level of Kyrie or anything. I will give him props. He can spread the ball out a little bit if he wants to. So I just hope that's the Westbrook that we see coming into this season, and not the one where his usage rates, as Danny said, are off the charts.
Right.
So that's what I hope. I hope for the best NBA to watch, and I feel like that's the best NBA to watch is if we have both teams potentially win this trade.
Yeah.
Real quick, talking in the West, we could shift over to the West real quick. I wanted to talk about LeBron and Anthony Davis signing maxes. LeBron signed for 2 years, $85 million. Anthony Davis signed a 5-year, $190 million extension. Oh, the Lakers locking down their two best players, in my personal opinion. I don't think anyone would disagree with me.
Right.
I think it's fantastic. I think if you're the Lakers, you realize now, especially because you re-upped, that your title window is, I'd say,
Wide open,
right? Like I want to give like a time frame, maybe like 2, 3, 4 years. Maybe that's being a little bit too extreme, but
4 years pushing it, but definitely
4
up
years,
there. Definitely up there.
4 years. Let's relax.
Yeah, well, LeBron's not going to be, in his 22nd season.
That's true.
That's true too. But
that's true too. But yeah, I like it. 4 years at the max.
It's clear what they're banking on. They know they have a good formula. They know like you said, they have the two best players in the NBA pretty much. And they definitely want to lock down Anthony Davis for as long as they possibly can. They want a solid 5 years with the guy at least.
Played to perfection.
They're willing to pay him, which is obviously what he wants. And even if LeBron gets into his old age and can't do what he used to be able to do, at least they still have Anthony Davis. LeBron signed to a little bit less. I think LeBron didn't want to be stuck there for the rest of his career. I think he wanted some options just in case. You never know.
Yeah.
I think that's good for both players. That's good for LeBron. He gets what he wants. Anthony Davis gets paid. He gets what he wants. The Lakers only got better. So I think the Lakers are, like you said, I think they're ready for a back-to-back, even a three-peat.
Oh yeah. Back-to-back, I think there's like an 80-20 split for a back-to-back for the Lakers. Honestly, if we're talking just common sense, I think everyone consensus pick has the Lakers coming out of the West this year. I mean, again, we talked about it a bunch of times. They took their squad and they just went up. Right. It wasn't like a steep incline. It was more like if you're here and you're the Lakers, right? They pretty much just went like that.
Right.
And they won last year. Basic common sense math, whatever you might want to call it, I'll tell you that the Lakers will win this year.
Yeah.
To your point, I really like the fact that, again, you have a guy in LeBron. You're going to want to keep him, obviously, because he's shown no signs of slowing down in the 17th year. So 2 years, what was it, 50? I have it in my notes here. 2 years, $85 million.
Right.
Not bad at all for LeBron, right? But the guy that you really want to lock up is Anthony Davis for 5 years.
Yeah.
I really like everything. I think this free agency, the Lakers have orchestrated it to perfection. To a T. I can't think of a better way that this free agency could have gone from this team.
Yeah. Well, what you got to remember, what the Lakers did perfectly is the lockdown Anthony Davis. Now if you were the Lakers, you are now in a position to set up a dynasty.
Oh yeah.
Let's say LeBron gets old and slow, you still have the pieces needed to sign someone else and keep that championship window open. So it really is just the start of a dynasty. I think, I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron ended his career with 6 rings at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I could 100% see that happening.
Yeah, and I think that's really what he wants. He just wants to win at this point, and Anthony Davis is 100% on board. Like guys that LeBron has played with in the past, Dwayne Wade, that duo was exceptionally good, and Dwayne Wade really didn't mind being in his shadow. I don't think Anthony Davis really minds either. Um, Kyrie obviously had a problem with it, and that's they also had the trouble of the Warriors dynasty coming up too. But I don't see much that could really mess up this dynasty, besides injury.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say maybe the Nets in the East, but I don't even know with the Nets anymore because we don't know about that Harden. Like we don't know where
Yeah,
Harden is going. We don't even know where Harden is right now.
yeah.
But
He is in Vegas. We do know that.
oh, he's in Vegas.
He is in Vegas.
I thought he was last in Atlanta. What the hell happened to him?
Oh, I thought it was in Vegas. Who knows, man?
Get-
Who knows where Harden? I don't even think Harden knows where
No,
Harden is.
Harden's spinning right now. Harden's sitting on the floor somewhere like, yo, where am I right now?
He's zooming.
He's zooming. He's flying, bro.
Yeah,
He's
good for
flying.
him though. Honestly,
Good for what do you mean
good
good
for
for
him.
him?
No, good for him. I mean, the man is a millionaire. All right.
Yeah, but
He's the Rockets didn't want to appease him, and so now he's lashing out. He's gotten some well deserved, payoff. You know.
yeah, the thing though is, and we could actually talk about this real quick. Does this show a lack of compassion for the game on Harden's part? Like
It shows a lack of respect for the organization.
lack of
Is what it
respect for the
shows.
organization, but I also like if you're a guy like Harden and they bring in a guy in John Wall and Boogie, sure, guys that have come off of injury, but guys that have been proven in the past. If I'm Harden, I'm saying, okay, this is not an ideal situation, but there are guys like Damian Lillard in the NBA that take not ideal situations and make them ideal. It's all about the mind frame, the mindset that you go into it with. If I'm sitting here looking at it from a critical standpoint, like you said, he doesn't have a lot of respect for the organization. Clearly not, if he's not showing up to individual workouts. But I think this also shows a lack of drive. And I know Harden's a competitive guy because he gets into arguments. He got in arguments with Chris Paul, but man, like I can't help but feel like Damian Lillard wouldn't do something like this. Like I know Damian
Yeah.
Lillard for a fact wouldn't do something like this.
No,
Damian Lillard would
absolutely
say,
not.
all right, let's get in the gym. Chris Paul would say, all right, let's get into the gym. There's different ways that different guys handle this. And it put a bad taste in my mouth the way Harden handled this. It really did.
Yeah. Well, when you handle something immaturely, obviously it's going to put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. Um, but I think that it's important to remember that, Harden doesn't want to be in that situation. He did what he was supposed to do. He requested a trade. That's what you're supposed to do when you want to be traded. Um, and he's gonna make he's testing his power right now. He has the power to
Mm,
go against the organization, to take the Rockets organization on head on, and he's testing that power. And so the Rockets are either going to give in, or stand down, or do something do something important. The thing is that I don't think that Damian Lillard is as important to the Trailblazers as a team as Harden is important to the Rockets. I feel like the Trailblazers aren't as bad without Damian Lillard as the Rockets are without James Harden. I think easily. If you are the Trailblazers, you still have CJ McCollum, you still have a lot of great pieces. If you are the Rockets, you have a bunch of guys that come in for 1 or 2 years and leave. You know what I'm saying? Um, who do you have? John Wall leading your team? I mean, I think the Rockets. I mean, I think the Trailblazers would do better without Damian than the Rockets would do without Harden. And Harden is just a better player than Damian is. Harden is a mega superstar. He's one of the greatest to
that's true.
ever do it. Um, Damian Lillard is a generational talent, but nowhere near what Harden has proved. Harden has nothing left to prove. Okay, Damian's he's
Uh,
still on that chopping block a little bit.
I'd
Not
say
really chopping block, but
I'd say offensively, Harden's definitely a way better player than Damian Lillard. But I think overall, Damian Lillard could actually knock on the door of that conversation. And also to your other point, yes, Portland would still be a playoff team without Damian Lillard. But in terms of presence, I mean, when you think Trailblazers, you think Damian Lillard. You don't think CJ
absolutely.
McCollum. When you think Rockets, obviously you think of Harden. Harden's had other guys with him like Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook last year was sort of the CJ McCollum to Damian Lillard, right? Like
Right,
Russell Westbrook was to Harden as CJ McCollum was to Damian Lillard.
right.
But I see so much of a better pairing in Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. I don't hate your statement, but I think it's just a tad bit off kilter. I think Harden and you see that you've tripped me up here, Nigel, because I don't.
What you have to remember is that Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum have been in Portland for a long time.
That's
The
true.
chemistry on that team is off the charts.
Yeah,
Okay, the chemistry on
off the
that team
heezy.
is right. It's better than any other team in the NBA, most likely. Okay. The Rock, James Harden hasn't really had a teammate with him. If you think about it, who has really been with him since the get-go? PJ Tucker.
Chris Paul
Um,
that 1 year, a couple of years.
yeah, the Rockets transition, they trade, they try new things out, and that really hurts team chemistry. You know what I'm saying? So James Harden really like what are his drives to want to be in Houston? If we're taking the fan base out of it, because that's important. That's part of why Damian Lillard stayed in Portland, most likely. But what is really driving what if you are James Harden, why do you want to be in the Rockets at all? You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
They didn't do you asked them to get you someone to help you win a championship. It didn't really work. The team is unstable. The team chemistry is no bueno. At
No
least in
bueno.
Portland, you want to be in Portland. At least Damian Lillard, you want to be in Portland because you have a team with you. You know what I'm saying? You have a bunch of guys that want to get it done all together. It doesn't matter if you win or not. That's still your team. You are James Harden. You are the team. There's no one else there that is the Rockets besides James Harden. Clint Capella was great. They got rid of him. Chris Paul, 1 year. Russell Westbrook, 1 year. PJ Tucker sucks. I mean, like the list goes on. So
Yeah, okay, I could see that. I could see that. I just think they're very similar. Like I don't hate your statement, but I would have to look into that way more because I think Damian, in the same way that you don't want, I mean, fans need to play a part in that, right? Like I think Damian Lillard, in the way that Harden leaving the Rockets, like the original conversation is like the guy who's had the more impact on their team, correct?
correct.
Yes, I think in the same way that Harden leaving the Rockets would affect their team stats wise, wins wise, losses wise. I think Damian Lillard leaving his team, as you said, you summarized it perfectly when you said that Damian Lillard is not like loved by the Portland Trailblazers. They have a great chemistry. Their fans love them. I think Damian Lillard, in the same way that if he left, the fans would be devastated. I think if Harden left, the Rockets would never be the same team. Does that make any sense?
Well, if if
So you
if
got to view it
Harden
from like
left,
different kind of what
yeah.
viewpoints.
If Harden left, the Rockets would go into a rebuild,
Yeah,
hands
yeah,
down.
yeah,
Damian Lillard leaves, Portland doesn't go into rebuild.
yeah,
They keep the cap space
yeah,
open and they wait for a superstar to come by
yeah,
wanting money.
yeah. I
So
agree with that.
um I don't know. It's interesting. It just sucks seeing someone that we love watching play basketball not really having his heart in it. But this is something that NBA players go to. I also think that Harden realizes, he is getting older. He hasn't really shown much of that yet, but it's true. He's starting to peak. So his time is running out. He may not be able to score 45 points on any given night, in 2-3 years from now.
That's
maybe
true.
maybe 4 or 5 years from now, you're not seeing the same Harden. So he figures he wants to go to another team, get the team chemistry going, and start off right. Just put this whole Rockets thing behind him. And I don't necessarily disagree with him because the Rockets should have done a better job of getting someone that would complement his game more. You know what I'm saying? They put all their eggs in one basket, and in the small ball basket, and it didn't end up working out. We're not there yet as an NBA. We're not ready to completely get rid of the five position. So,
Yeah.
if I'm James Harden, I'm upset. They failed me. The Rockets have failed me if I'm James Harden.
The best thing the Rockets did for Harden was putting CP3 next to him.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah, you're right,
that's where they
Nigel.
made it. That's where they made it the farthest.
Right. And then you're right. They took this leap into small ball, this venture, and then they realized that they somehow you take in an NBA where it's evolved into 3-and-D, motion fast, shooting the ball. They somehow took that and jumped the shark. Like it's crazy to even think about that. It's like it's almost like the Rockets are this desperate person that feel like they need to get in a relationship, and they see everyone else doing the same thing. They see all their friends getting cuffed up for the season, and they go and they get with like a scumbag, right? They start dating a scumbag. Weird analogy. That was a stretch. That was an Olympic level stretch to quote Kobe. But the thing is, the Rockets took what they have now, the current state of the NBA, I should say, and they just said, okay, that times 11. That's what we're going to try to do with this team.
Yeah.
When you're right, the 5 spot has not been retired in the NBA. I'd actually wager to say that the 5 spot has become more important because you have guys, versatile bigs now that can shoot threes. So yeah, you're right. The Rockets management really did James Harden dirty. And it's sad to see.
Yeah.
It really is. It's sad to see. Moving on. Because we're already at the 30-minute. We're 36 minutes in, actually. Podcast is flying by tonight. Do we want to talk about LiAngelo Ball signing a non-guaranteed 1-year contract with the Detroit Pistons, making it just a weird eventuality, a weird reality where all 3 Ball brothers are now in the NBA, like LeVar Ball said way back, and nobody believed him. I'm not saying even I believed him because I thought he was crazy. He's proven everyone wrong, and
he
now
did it. He did it.
He did it. He put all of his sons in the NBA. Bing, bang, bong. They're all here. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. And LiAngelo Ball is widely considered to be the best shooter out of all 3 of them. Think about that.
Yeah, well, he sucks at basketball, and he's not going to get signed again after this year. But I do think that it is something special. It's something special. What LeVar Ball did was something special. He now wants both Lonzo and LiAngelo to go to the Hornets with LaMelo.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think LiAngelo is gonna get re-signed. I don't think Lonzo's in a good position right now. I don't think Lonzo
if I were
wants to
Lonzo,
go
I'm not moving anywhere.
I say you let LiAngelo have his rookie 15 on the Hornets, and then you take him out of there and you put him somewhere else. Then again, these are grown-ass men we're talking about. It's not up to LeVar. You know what I'm saying? When they were kids and LeVar was like, yeah, I'm gonna get all my sons in the NBA. They're all gonna be in the Lakers. They're gonna win them a championship. It's like, okay, because those are your sons. They're under 18. But these are all grown men now. Okay, so they're really gonna do whatever they want. I don't think that's the future for the Ball brothers. However, I think it is quite the accomplishment that all 3 of them got into the NBA, and all I can say is I was wrong, and props to LeVar Ball.
Tip of the cap. That's all you can really say at this point.
I was wrong.
It's gonna be cool to see LiAngelo Ball on Detroit and to see LaMelo on the Hornets and all that. So it's gonna be cool for me, and to see Lonzo, because Lonzo said he wanted to come out of the gate pretty a strong year 4. That's what he said, and he was gonna be a triple-double threat. So we're gonna see what these Ball brothers do.
Yeah. Well, I already actually believe that LaMelo is the best Ball brother.
You think so?
I think once he gets over this little rookie hump that all players have,
maybe he won't. We don't know.
Well, no one really averages. The highest that a superstar can average as a rookie is usually 20.
Yeah.
And then there's something about that rookie year that you're just not used to. The competition is too much. You got to get
it's
used
faster,
to it.
It's stronger.
Yeah. not only that, it's just the amount of games you got to play. But once you get past, I mean, Trae Young, averaged 19 his rookie year, then the year after that averaged 27. I mean, I think LaMelo is already the best ball brother. And I think he just once we get out of his rookie season, he gets used to it. I think that he will be the best ball brother by far. I don't
Yeah,
think
could
Lonzo
be.
comes close.
Could be. He's a better overall player than Lonzo is, I think.
100%. I think already. I think right now you took both ball brothers. I say LaMelo's better basketball player.
Well, I want to see until I venture off on that statement. I want to see how LaMelo Ball plays in the NBA. I don't want to just like jump the gun or anything. It's very well possible, Nigel. Very well possible.
Yeah.
But I don't want to jump the gun just yet. I want to see what's up.
Well, LaMelo has something going for him. Like same thing with Luka Doncic, that we saw that having some pro experience before going into the NBA really helps.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
LaMelo has that. Luka Doncic has that.
Yeah, but the EuroLeague is a little bit different than the NBL too. That's also something you got to think about.
Absolutely, but both, but the biggest thing you got to get over is just how big the guys are, how hard it is to get that first step on them, how
Yep.
fast they are. And both of them have been playing against grown-ass men, whereas the rest of the rookies have been playing against 18, 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? LaMelo Ball's been playing against 27, 28-year-olds, just like Luka Doncic. And we saw how superior Luka was as soon as he stepped foot in the league. I say LaMelo Ball wins Rookie of the Year, and then he goes off to be the best ball brother. That's my early predictions. I could be wrong,
Nostradamus
but
Nigel.
that's what I think. I don't think there's anyone in that draft class that comes close to LaMelo.
All right, man. Nostradamus Nigel has put in his pick for the episode. I don't know. Listen, all power to him. If LaMelo Ball wants to go in and win Rookie of the Year, all power to him. Again, tip of the cap. I don't think with Anthony Edwards, I mean, that those comments that he said on draft night or the day before draft night, I don't know if he's going to have the drive to try to make a push at Rookie of the Year, but we'll have to see about that. Certainly, right now for me, it's either going to be James Wiseman or LaMelo Ball in that conversation. Could be one of the the lower drafted players too, because there are a lot of steals later on in the draft. This draft class, man. I mean, we've said it before. It's going to be pretty open. It's going to be pretty ripe for the taking. Who wants to get Rookie of the Year? I feel like this year, but if anyone has the hype around him to do it, it's certainly LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
All right.
I agree.
We can talk the opening night matchups. We can talk Kyrie not speaking to the media this year. He's doing a media blackout. I mean, we got to get our little Kyrie rants out of the way. It's typical Kyrie, man. This guy's such a diva. I mean, he thinks he's too good to talk to media. Just talk to, for the love of God, you're going to be on a team that's projected to be first in the East. Do the media a favor. Just talk to the media, man. It's never that serious,
I don't know. He's so far up his own ass.
Like, I feel like Kyrie thinks that he's just this player that he's, he's fighting for a bigger meaning. Da 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 da. It's like, yeah, you might have altruistic intentions, but you're far less influential than you think, especially at this point.
Yeah.
Like if LeBron wanted to do that, hate to say it, gonna sound like a contrarian here. If LeBron wanted to do that, I really wouldn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I might have a little problem with it, but I wouldn't have a crazy, I wouldn't really have anything to say, but it's Kyrie. A, because we know that he does this.
Yeah, he does it all the time.
And B, it's because, yeah, dude, sure, you're on a team that's projected to go first in the East, but you're also with KD. It's like, how important does he think he is in the grand scheme of things?
Right.
Like, it'd be hilarious if he goes, if he said, he's like, oh yeah, I'm not talking to the media. And then every single media member was like, all right.
Yeah, I honestly feel like that's how it went, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't really have anything, I don't know. I don't want to say good is the right word, but he didn't really have anything worth talking to the media about. The most he ever said was, I'm excited to play with KD and we don't like our coach, So I think, I don't know. It's just Kyrie. Like, listen, if his game talked for him, awesome. And there was a point in his career where it did. But if he came out this season and absolutely started balling and wrecking it, I'd be like, sure, that's fine. If that's what you needed to really reach your full potential, I'm all for it, Kyrie.
Yeah.
But like, his game has not been talking for him recently in
It
past
hasn't.
years. So who's gonna talk?
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like,
KD?
y-
KD's gonna talk. That's who's gonna talk for you.
KD actually is a much better. I think KD's a much better speaker now because I feel like he's been. We've seen humble KD recently. I really like this KD that we're kind of coming out and seeing because he said, "Don't compare me to MJ and all this different stuff." So I actually like this KD a lot more. But you're right, Nigel. Kyrie used to let his game do the talking. Now he talks more than his game.
Absolutely.
I don't listen.
That was a
Bars
beautiful
on the
line,
mic,
man.
right? Like,
Yeah,
come on, man. Come on.
for
That's
real.
gonna be. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to see what I name this episode of the podcast, but it's definitely gonna have something to do with that. Okay. Well, I wanted to talk about that real quick because it's like, who do you think you are, right? Like, who? Come
Yeah.
on, man. Come on. We can talk about the opening game or opening night matchups for next year or for this. Excuse me, this upcoming season, December 22nd.
Yeah. It's coming up, man. We're gonna have a lot of
It's
basketball.
coming in fast. That's 16 days from now.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Also, the
Crazy.
day that my job ends. So I'm just going to be at home, just slouching, watching NBA games. It's going to be great. Okay.
Yeah.
First one up. We got the Golden State Warriors versus the Brooklyn Nets. That's 7 p.m. ET on TNT.
It's gonna be a good game.
That'll be a really good game. Do we want to do our predictions for it?
Is KD back? Is KD gonna be playing?
I think so. I believe so.
So yeah, so the classic NBA opening night, you play your former team.
Yeah.
It happened with
Yeah.
Kyrie. It happened with the Boston Celtics and the Cavs when Kyrie
Yeah.
left. That's what they like to do. I think it's going to be a good game. Again, it's a shame about Klay Thompson, but if KD and Kyrie are there, I say Nets take that game.
Yeah, I don't know about handily. I could see it potentially going Golden State's way, but right now I'd say Nets. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Clippers versus Lakers, Battle of the West,
of course.
10 p.m. ET on TNT. Boy, back-to-back dingers on TNT. Man, Lakers.
Yeah, I'd say Lakers. Well, I don't know
Lakers?
because the Clippers won every single regular
that's
season
true.
game.
That's true. They did
year.
get the best of them in the regular season.
They did.
Well, it's also a different Lakers squad, so I don't know. That's another one that could go either way. You know?
I'd say that goes either way, 50-50.
Yeah, 50-50. Okay, I'll walk back my statement. We got the Bucks versus the Celtics the next day, Wednesday, December 23rd, excuse me, on TNT.
It's gonna be a good game.
That'll be another good game. I don't know. I think defensively, the Bucks next year are going to be really scary because they've added again Drew Holiday, so that's going to be he's a defensive machine. So I think I don't know.
I put my money on Milwaukee for that one.
I put my money on Milwaukee because if you can jam up the Celtics defensively, that's where you get them. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think Milwaukee gets that one. And 10:30 p.m. ET on ESPN, we have the Dallas Mavericks versus the Phoenix Suns.
It's gonna be a classic matchup.
Classic. I'd say that the Dallas Mavericks though they get that.
I say the Dallas Mavericks win, only because it's gonna take the Suns a little while to figure out the chemistry and everything.
Yeah.
But I think because we're seeing, like we talked about before in the podcast, the modern reincarnation of Bird versus Magic. You're seeing Luka Doncic versus Trae Young.
Right.
They love each other off the court. Great competitors on the court. They love playing against each other. It's going to be a great game. I'm excited for that one.
100%. Okay. Christmas Day games, man. You gotta love them, right?
Yeah, which is only like 3 days later.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wait till you see this lineup, Nigel. You're gonna your socks are gonna be blown off your feet, right? Weird expression. Pelicans versus Heat, 12 p.m. ET on ESPN.
It's gonna be a good one.
Heat over the Pels, I think.
I don't know. I might take the Pels. I might give that a 50-50 toss up.
Listen, I'm not saying I couldn't see the Pels pulling that one off, but I think the Heat. I think Bam Adebayo is going to come out strong because he signed that extension. I think it'll be a good matchup between him and Zion.
I think Zion's going to come out strong.
Well, the Zion will come out real strong, like physically strong too. But Bam has always been solid defensively. He might take away from Zion. He's obviously had way more experience than Zion, so that's going to be a battle there. In the guards, the guard rotation, it's going to be an equal match. Like I don't know. I'd say also the Heat in terms of the length. I'd say that they get that. I'd say the Heat probably get that.
Yeah, you know what? I might put my money on the Pelicans, but I'd say it's a 50-50 toss.
50-50. Okay. And then 2:30 p.m. ET. I'm trying to I'll zoom in here. 2:30 p.m. ET. We have the Golden State Warriors versus the Bucks. Excuse me. On
Okay,
ABC.
versus the Bucks.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd say Bucks again, man.
yeah, I might take Bucks on that. I that might be another 50-50 tie. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I might throw that up to a coin toss, to be honest with you. But
Because
if I had to put my money on someone, it'd be the Bucks.
this is the first time we're gonna be seeing Steph Curry back in a while. So I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking that he's gonna come out and just shoot lights out. That's what my
I think
mental
so too.
process is. Yeah.
But if I always call him Drew Holiday, if Drew Holiday can come in and lock Steph up, which is pretty much, I don't know if that's really even going to happen, but if he can, then that makes it a lot harder for the length on Golden State. And the length, I mean, guys, again, James Wiseman, he's going to be a rookie. How does that match up with the solid defensive length on the Bucks? I don't know. I'd say I'd give that to the Bucks as well. 5 p.m. ET, we have the Nets versus the Celtics.
Another classic.
Another classic. I might actually. I give that to the. My gut is telling me give that to the Celtics. I think
that's a hard one. That's a very hard one. If
yeah,
if the Nets can't get the Celtics out of their rhythm, I say Celtics take that.
yeah, and again because obviously if you look at it with the eye test, the Nets have a very solid young team around KD and Kyrie, but the Celtics all around just are very, very solid. And they added Tristan Thompson. Hopefully he'll contribute lengthwise. But
yeah,
I might almost give that to the Nets, but I don't know. I'll stick with my pick on the Celtics.
I think on paper Nets take that, but I think just the team chemistry in Boston.
Yeah,
they've all been playing with each other for 5 years now.
Yeah,
except for Tristan Thompson.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a hard one.
8 p.m. ET on ESPN and ABC is the Lakers versus the Mavericks.
Another great. We love seeing Luka go up against his big poppy LeBron.
Big Poppy.
Yeah. That's going to be a good one. Lakers, though. I take Lakers.
Lakers, yeah. And then we have 10 p.m. ET on ESPN, the Nuggets versus the Clippers. I think Clippers are going to come out and eviscerate the Nuggets. I think they're going to be super duper real. Like talking about this year when they dropped a 3-1. I think whoever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think the Clippers organization is going to let this happen twice in a row. In a metaphorical sense, obviously not playing in a series, but metaphorically, what this means to them, I think they're going to be coming out for blood. I think the Clippers get that. And again, like the Nets are really solid. The Nuggets are really solid, but the Clippers also as well. I mean, they built up a pretty good team this offseason too.
Yeah, well, they're coming out with the new head coach and everything. I think that they're just going to come out and just keep pounding them as hard as they can. I don't think I'd take my Clippers on that one.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. Well, that was the last of that. That's certainly quite the slate though. Quite the slate over like a 3-day period.
We're gonna have a good couple of days of NBA in the beginning.
Anyone that's listening to this, don't expect to hear. I mean, you don't really hear from me anyways, but expect not to hear from me double when I'm watching my NBA games. With that, what else do we got here? What else? We could just talk real quick. Did you see the new NBA City jerseys? Everyone released them.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, dude. And then we also got to get into user related questions because we got quite a few on Instagram.
Yeah, I like the Utah Jazz ones especially.
I really like those.
I thought that all teams really came out and had, besides the one we talked about, neither one of us really liked the Nets ones, but I don't know. I like the whoever's doing the artwork for the jerseys right now for the NBA in Nike, whoever's in charge of that department is doing a phenomenal job.
Do you think it's the same person for each jersey? Or do you think they have different people? Because I feel like a smart thing to do would be someone from each team come in, or maybe they're consulting someone from each team to get the signature style. Because the thing I liked about the jerseys this year, especially the City jerseys, is that you have not only colorful threads, which we saw last year, but it's threads that represent the teams really, really well. I get a feeling for each team from these City jerseys. Something that necessarily last year it didn't feel like that. Yeah. This year, they're colorful. They're fun to look at. They represent each team's city perfectly. I'm That's obviously the design. By design, you're supposed to, if it's a city jersey, you're supposed to represent the city. But I really I enjoyed the city jerseys this year. I just wonder if it's someone from each team coming in because they were really, really personalized. I loved, I will say, the Milwaukee jerseys, the baby blue. Same thing with the Lakers.
Yeah.
And then who else am I thinking of? The Rockets came out with a nice red and blue kind of combination there, which ooh. I can't. By the way, talking about on the other end of that, the Boston Celtics. Did you see their city jersey?
Was it the one that looked like the banner?
No, no, it looked like more like a practice jersey. I'll
Yeah,
show you what I mean.
I think we're talking about the same one. Yeah, I think those were modeled after the banners actually.
Really?
Yeah, the
Celtics.
championship banners.
Yeah. Those look disgusting to me. Like I can't. It's too
Yeah.
simplistic.
Yeah, they're taking a very classic approach to it, definitely. And I feel like the way they do it is they probably have like the owners and top people for each team.
That one.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
modeled after the banners. They probably have like the top people for each team, and then they probably have like designers from Nike pitch them jersey ideas, and then
Probably.
they pick one and they decide whether they want to alter it a little bit, maybe add something to it. So, but yeah, those were I know what they were trying to do, to honor like the tradition and the banners and everything. But I just feel like it's just a little bit, like you said, you got Utah Jazz coming out with some great stuff. You got the Lakers going back to their classics, and then you got Boston Celtics, which is just, it looks like a blank piece of paper with Boston written on it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. How do you feel about the New York Knicks one? Because I'm looking at it now, and it honestly, I'm not gonna hold you, Nigel. It looks pretty ugly to me. Same
Yeah,
thing with the
no,
Los Angeles Lakers. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, Knicks have gross jerseys.
Knicks have gross jerseys. Same with Minnesota. I don't like those either. Um, what else? For the most part, I don't have a complaint, but yeah, you
I
figure
love the Utah one. I think the Miami ones were also kind of gross.
the Vice ones. I have it up on my phone here. That's why I'm looking down for everyone watching at home. Yeah, the Miami Vice ones I was a little bit disappointed with as well because they always, I feel like if you have a Miami Vice jersey coming out, you got to come with the shits. You can't be, you can't be messing around.
They had the blue ones, which were fire. Then you had the pink ones, which were equally as fire. And then
And
they
then
were
the
like,
white ones.
why not just put them together?
Yeah,
And it's just like, yeah, that's not how it works.
looks like a slushy.
Yeah, it's gross.
You know,
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
looks like a slush you get at a carnival. I've come around to the Oakland jerseys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like
Yeah.
those now. I really like Denver's. I think it's just a reimagined colorway of the ones that they had last year. Oklahoma, I liked it first, but I'm not the biggest fan of
Yeah, I'm not
now.
the biggest fan of the Oklahomas.
DC is all right. It's pretty much the same thing as I think past years. And then I actually like I like DC's regular jerseys more than their city jerseys, which is usually something that I don't say for a team. I think the city jerseys are usually my consensus favorite kind of jersey selection because they do, what do they do? The regular jerseys, the city jerseys, and then there's another icon jerseys, I think. Something along those lines. There's different
Yeah.
there's different rollouts, but I'd say usually city are my favorites. But yeah, for a large part of these jerseys, they came and they really showed out. I don't mind Cleveland's at all. There's only a few here where I would say it's like, ugh, get that out of my face. So bravo to the NBA, props.
Right.
Slow clap. I can't wait to get back in the studio so we can have all these sound effects, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These
Yeah,
wacky
absolutely.
things. But yeah, and with that, since we're reaching the end of the episode, I put out a poll on Instagram. I said, listen, guys, send us your takes, send us your questions, type away with those little fingers, and tell us what you have to say. And so we actually got three responses. One which was a really nice compliment to the podcast. It said, "Spreading the Floor is one of the most underrated basketball podcasts in the game." For that, I thank you. That was Peter, a really good friend of the show. He runs TTL Sports. Go check them out.
Great stuff.
We had another gentleman, Brandon, who is a regular listener of the show. Shout out to Brandon. He said that Milwaukee, and I'll save the last one for last because you'll see. You'll see why I'm saving that one for last. But Brandon says, in his personal opinion, that Milwaukee does not have the ability to attract a star player to play along with Giannis.
It's a pretty valid point.
I feel like that was a pretty valid. I don't hate that at all. That's a good take. For
Yeah.
whatever reason, these guys cannot seem to get a player either, whether it's people seeing that they have a pretty formidable team around Giannis and they aren't making, they're consistently getting ousted in the playoffs, or it's just the fact that, again, for whatever reason, they just, it's some sort of aura around the team where guys don't want to go there. Where I feel like for the past, like during the season, right? I think stretching around to last off season, we were kind of singing this tune that if Milwaukee can get this one last guy, they'll be straight.
Yeah.
And they went out this offseason and they got Drew Holiday. Great defensive guard, but he's not going to be on that echelon
Is
that I
that
think
enough? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a big bargain. That's a
Yeah.
big, not a bargain, excuse me. That's a big bet. That's a big, you're rolling big.
Yeah. Well, it's a good point. You also got to think about it. You're a millionaire. If I was a millionaire, I don't think I'd really want to live in Milwaukee. No offense to Milwaukee.
That's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying.
you're looking at South Beach. You're looking at Los Angeles. I mean, you're even looking at like Texas.
Yeah.
You want to be down in the sun. Milwaukee is just not, super high tourist, super high NBA millionaire destination. I mean, the same thing with Cleveland. There's just a lot, and it's a shame that that's how it works, but that's just a reality situation. I mean, these players got to go live there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'd choose Milwaukee over, Miami.
Another more formidable market.
Yeah. And then also the good point you made about, they just haven't proven themselves able to get it done. So
yeah, it's like, why would if I'm a guy like Devin Booker, just for hypothetical sake, right? If I'm a guy like Devin Booker and I'm sitting there and I'm watching Milwaukee, I'm saying, fuck do I want to go for there for? Fuck do I want to go there for?
yeah.
They can't get it done. They can't get it done, and I have to live in Milwaukee.
Yeah, exactly. First of all, you got to play in Giannis's shadow.
Yeah.
Okay. So now if they were winning, it'd be more understandable. You know what I'm saying? Like Anthony Davis went to the Lakers knowing that they were going to win an NBA championship. He didn't mind playing in LeBron's shadow. That's why he only signed, or he was only there. He had to get the extension. He wasn't there for the long term yet. He wasn't. They didn't prove anything to him yet. But you don't mind playing in someone's shadow most of the time, and you're going to win. I don't think going to Milwaukee is a guaranteeing winning.
Yeah, no.
I'm saying you're going to have a great regular season record. Don't get me wrong, but let's look at the playoff in past years. You know what I'm saying? So
playoff pattern. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great point, Nige. You're gonna have a fantastic regular season. Probably gonna boost your stats. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna be playing in the shadow of a guy who seemingly can't carry a team anyway. So it's like, what's the point in really even going there? So fantastic take by Brandon. Shout out to him, excuse me, for not only writing into the show but listening to the show on a weekly basis. We really appreciate. And also, I just want to take this time to appreciate everyone that listens to the show, because I've been doing a lot of thinking. And every great podcast, you should be doing it for your audience.
Right.
And I think that's part of the reason why we've come so far, is because I really love putting out content for other people to see.
Right.
And I'm really thankful for the people that take time out of their day, and people have told me that they take time out of their day to come and listen to our stuff, to subscribe, whatever it is. Like, I will always be indebted to those people. Like, those people have chosen to consume our content. That's crazy to me. That someone, like, obviously we put out a good product, but just the fact that someone wants to sit in with us, right? Like, in the same way that we always talk about, and this is going to be a big yoga level stretch, again, to quote Kobe Bryant, in the same way that signing a guy like John Wall isn't guaranteed for the Rockets. You're going in with you're not guaranteed to nobody's guaranteed to listen to us, right? Like, we're not, nobody would have to listen to us if they didn't want to, but they choose to. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I really appreciate all the people that listen to the show and consume it. And I do put out stuff for you guys. So, yeah, keep the user questions going. We're happy to answer them. We're happy to debate anyone if they think we're being idiotic, if they think that we could be doing something better. You can DM me at Coop TV with 3 O's on Instagram, or at Spreading the Floor Pod. You can send me a DM. I'll probably be putting questionnaires out before, the week before every podcast, so we can answer them as well. But yeah, I think it's great that people are interacting with the show. And again, like we have merch coming along the way and people want to buy that. I think it's sick. I think it's honestly,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
great
cool.
feeling to have people consuming your stuff. And then
Very,
with
very, very great.
the last question we had was from a gentleman who I'm not sure if he listens to the podcast, but he is an agent of chaos. Um, he wanted us to explain, wildly enough, wanted us to explain what is it? What he said, how is basketball played? Or like what is basketball? And I'm not sure we can even really answer that unless we spend another 30 minutes in here. But I guess it would be a fun little segment if we just in one sentence try to describe the game of basketball.
Wait, the question is, what is basketball?
He wanted, you know what? Let me see because I got it in my archives here. I was very thrown off by this. I was like, what? And so one sec. Here we go. Okay. Okay. How basketball work?
How basketball work?
Yes. That's a home run question. Like you can't.
Yeah.
So I figured we could just try to surmise it in one sentence. That might be better
Yeah.
than anything else.
You put the ball in the basket.
You put the ball in the basket. Mine would be, man, just spread the floor. There you go.
Spread the floor, baby.
But yes, I appreciate all the questions this week. Try to send more in, and we'll definitely be happy to field any and all questions. We should be having a guest on the show if everything goes according to plan. A former WNBA player also works in congruence or conjunction, excuse me, with the Women's Developmental League. So we should have her on the show next week. All things go according to plan. And with that, that's been the episode for today. Man, the 7th of December. I actually, this episode flew by. I was having a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah, it was good. There's a lot of talk about a lot of, good subjects.
Guys being dudes.
Guys being dudes, dudes being guys, man.
Dudes being guys. So I've been your host, Jacob Kuberman. The 7th of December, 6:13 p.m. on the dot. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Definitely.
Peace.